local human twists colorful cube, society labels them genius. This is basically what happens every time I solve a Rubik's Cube. People gasp, eyes widen, and somewhere in the distance, roads starts writing me a little. But the truth about solving a Rubik's Cube is it doesn't make you smart. It just means you were bored enough to memorize a bunch of moves in your room like a dork. Just kidding. But why do we think solving a Rubik's Cube means someone's a genius? Is it logical? Is it the speed or the fact that it looks hard? I think it's the fact that it looks hard. That's what it is, right? It looks hard, not gonna lie. But it's all kinda wrong. Thanks to an actual psychological study and one of the gifted cubers of all time, we finally know why. First things first, when did this plastic toy become an IQ test? Well, it could be because the Rubik's Cube was invented by an architect who wanted to teach his students about how things move in 3D space.
Or are you sick of it? Are you bored of it?
It's my son. It's it's part of me. So that's.
Now, this story might intimidate some people because it already sets the premise of the puzzle being born out of concepts in STEM, and creating another stereotype that people who know how to solve a Rubik's Cube are also pretty good at math. But that's not true, and I am the living proof of it. A recent study, and honestly a very cool one, tried to answer this exact question. Does solving the Rubik's Cube actually reflect intelligence, or is it something else entirely? In 2023, Elizabeth Mines and David Hamburg gathered 79 people who had never solved the cube before. They gave everyone a method, the beginner method with 7 steps, nothing fancy. The goal was to learn the cube and solve the cube. But here's where it gets interesting. Before learning began, they were tested for a bunch of things. We divided them into 3 categories. First, fluid intelligence, which is the raw reasoning ability to solve a new problem. Second, their working memory capacity, which is how much information they could hold in their mind while solving the problem. And third, their non-ability traits such as personality, grit, and mindset. Stuff like, do you believe your effort matters? Are you persistent? You get the gist. The results of the study show that throughout the 7 steps, the percentage of total number of people who solved the cube dropped as we progressed further and further. In fact, 87% of people could solve the first step, which is making the white daisy, and by the time they reached the 7th step, only 1.3% of them could solve the entire cube. Participants were trying their level best to solve the cube, while the researchers were trying to see exactly what it is that made them go from one step to another. The study wasn't about how many people could solve it completely to the end. It was about exactly which ability or non-ability factor for that matter was being used to solve the cube, no matter what step they were on. And after using a bunch of statistical methods, it was finally revealed that only fluid intelligence, that's right, not grit, not memory, not personality, was significantly linked to how well someone could learn the cube. Now at this point you must be wondering, what is the point of this video again? It claims there's no correlation between intelligence and solving a Rubik's Cube, but the studies prove otherwise. What's happening then? You see, the study further revealed the link between fluid intelligence and solving a Rubik's Cube is only limited at first, when the task was new, when the brain had to figure out how this thing worked. Remember, fluid intelligence is not your overall intelligence summed together. It is just your ability to solve a new problem in front of you. And after a while, practice took over, pattern recognition took over, and that tiny edge from higher intelligence completely faded. And this isn't just a fluke. P.L. Ackerman, one of the most important thinkers in modern cognitive psychology, laid the groundwork for this over 30 years ago. He argued that the way we perform in the real world, the way we get better at things, has nothing to do with intelligence alone. In the beginning, yes, you need reasoning power. You need to figure out how the system works. But soon it becomes about routine, memory, and practice. And in the final stage, what really matters is your personality, motivation, and interest. Your willingness to repeat something again and again and again. And that is why the Rubik's Cube is such a beautiful contradiction. People assume it's a measure of intelligence when in reality, it's a mirror of curiosity, patience, and how comfortable you are with failure. So, if intelligence only gives you a small head start, if solving the Rubik's Cube isn't about IQ, then why do people still think it is? It's because intelligence looks a certain way. It's quiet, focused, fast, male, neurotypical, and the cube, it looks like a brainy object, so anyone holding it must be smart. Or so we think. But this myth is also completely busted when you look at someone like Max Park. Max Park is one of the fastest Rubik's Cube solvers on earth. He holds multiple world records and he's autistic. When he was a child, his parents used the cube to help improve his fine motor skills, and over time, Max didn't just solve the cube, he dominated it. In 2023, he broke the world record for the fastest single solve on a 3x3 with a record time of 3.13 seconds. He is also the only person other than Zemdex or Timon to have set 5x5 record since August 11, 2012. And yet, by the conventional standards, by the way we casually throw around the word genius, Max wasn't supposed to be the best. He wasn't the extroverted STEM kid with perfect grades. But that's the point. Cubing doesn't belong to the gifted. It belongs to the obsessed, the curious, the ones who don't stop when it gets boring, repetitive, or hard. The cube is not a test of how smart you are. It's a test of how long you're willing to feel dumb until you don't. It rewards pattern seeking, attention to detail, memory, and persistence. None of it should require genius level IQ, all of which require time. So, in conclusion, no, you don't need a high IQ to solve a cube. You just need to believe that the effort is worth more than the talent, and perhaps that's the most intelligent thing of all. So, the next time someone sees you solve a cube and says, "Oh, I could never do that," maybe just smile and hand it to them, because if they tried and if they really practiced, they probably could.